Okay. Hello! Hey sisters! Hey guys! Hey, how's it going? Hey! So, my phone is cracked. I think I've said this in every past video that I've made. Well, I don't think I've uploaded the videos where I've said my phone is cracked, but I've constantly been saying in videos that I make but never upload that my phone has cracked. And it looks like shit. Ew. It looks like shit. It looks like garbage. You can see this like glare. Like, what is that? What is that? So, I'm upset about it. My phone smashed in Italy. Just another thing on top of the things that irritate me. But anyway, I'm here to talk about my experience in Italy. So I had made this video before, but I didn't record myself because I wasn't wearing makeup. It was like 6 in the morning and I just really wanted to make a video, but like I didn't feel like putting on makeup. And yeah, and also if you came from TikTok and you saw the TikTok where I was talking about how I wasn't gonna wear makeup, well, I whatever my statement, I'm putting on makeup. Not because I feel not confident, just because it's fun and I want to put something on my face to be a little extra, to be a little bit more dolled up. I'm not trying to look like a basic bitch every day, so I put on makeup. Okay, anyway, my experience was shit. It was like awful. It made me want to reflect on myself so terribly bad because there were so many things that made me feel like I was made to be out of character and not how I want to actually be as a person or how I want to be portrayed. I had such a fucking attitude at the airport when we were leaving because I was so ready to get away from these people. I also had an attitude because I was around them. Like, I usually avoided being around all of them in Italy and it worked out well. Like the last trip I even didn't go on because I didn't want to be around everybody. We had day trips and that day trip was to Siena and I didn't go because I didn't want to be around those people. So, I'm standing up. This is uncomfortable. Can I sit down? Okay. Well, I'm in the bathroom because there's flies like everywhere in the damn house, so I'm not about to be like in the video, you know? So where shall I start? I will start from the beginning. Wait. Okay, so, oh, that fucking glare. Okay, so when we got there, okay, so first, let me give these people names because it's just going to be easier. There's Chad, there's Gemini, there's Italiano. Chad is Chad because he looks like a Chad, Gemini is Gemini because she's a Gemini, and Italiano is Italiano because he's pretty much fluent in Italian. So that's one little group. And then we got Skater, and then we got Scorpio. She's not a Scorpio, but like she's basically a Scorpio. She might as well be a Gemini with how she annoys me, but we'll call her Scorpio because I think her rising's Scorpio. So, yes, I got their charts, and yes, I do dislike Geminis. Nobody asked, but I thought I should say. If you're a Gemini, full disclosure, it's not like I automatically dislike you, but most likely if I end up talking to you, I'm probably going to end up not liking you. Well, let me stop. Okay, that's not completely true. It just so happens that every single time I talk to a Gemini, I do not like them. There's only one Gemini that I can stand, and I don't even know how true that is because I have never actually been around her long enough to see if she pisses me off, you know? So there's one Gemini I like, but I gotta keep her at a distance because I do like her and she is my friend, but I need to keep her at a distance so I won't end up disliking her because I don't know what it is. I really don't know what it is, but me and Geminis, we just, it just, no. I can't. My Pisces energy combated with the Gemini energy, it just, no. I can't. Nonetheless, I will say, I do not judge people if I find out they're Geminis. But once I find out they're Geminis, I'm like, oh, okay, keep that in the back of my head. And then if something happens along the way and they start to annoy me, I'm like, oh, wait, they're a Gemini. So, yeah, there's that. But anyway, it was all good in the beginning. Nothing. Everybody, the group was, could you see my lace just now? I don't know. But anyway, the group was cohesive. It was fun. Everybody was doing stuff together. And then Rome hit. Rome was when my downfall came. And you know what else happened? You know what else happened when Rome came around? Mercury retrograde. Mercury retrograde is what happened. And when I think about it, Mercury retrograde really affected my emotions because out of nowhere I kind of got pissed off. But no, not pissed off, irritated. I started getting irritated by little things. And then the group started doing things that actually like warranted my irritatedness. Like, well, not exactly actually. So I started getting irritated by the things they did. But I don't know if that's because the things that they were doing were actually like problems or I was just irritable because of Mercury. But once Mercury started, I noticed I got irritable. So anyway, Mercury came around and Rome went to shit. Gemini, Chad, and Italiano decided to go out to dinner also with Laura. I'm just going to say her name because I like her. She's not a problem. She's not the problem in this video. So they all went out with Laura to dinner. This was the first strike. This is when I realized these people might not be shit. Because this was a problem. Because it is a group of 7 people. There are literally only 7 people on this study abroad trip. And they decided to go out to dinner without inviting the other 3 people in the group. And it's one thing if you're all the way across in West Bumblefuck and you guys just all happen to be together, that's completely fine. Do what you want to do. It's not like we always have to be together. But when you are literally down the hall from these people and you're always conscious of inviting everybody to everything and they don't even think to knock at your door when you literally do that all the time for other people. They don't even think to be like, hey, do you guys want to come? No. And as in you guys, it was me, Skater, and Scorpio. We weren't invited. And when I say that we were right down the hall from them, we were in the same hotel. So that's like what the setup was. And also, it was also very annoying because we were bored as fuck. We were doing shit. We were just sitting in the room the whole fucking time. And they didn't think to say not a single word to us. So, yeah. So that was strike 1. Annoying, but it was like, okay, that's rude. But okay, I'll move on because, you know, it was one incident. It's whatever, okay? So, one incident turned into many incidents. The whole the overall whole problem with this trip for me, and why I hated it about 70% of the time, was because the group was cliquey, I was lonely, and when I talked, people didn't listen. When I talked, people didn't listen. It was like I had to repeat myself 10 times to be heard, and sometimes I was never heard. So, you know, all of those things, and I wasn't even in a clique. It's like one thing to be cliquey if you're in a clique. I wasn't even in a clique. Granted, I hung out with Skater and Scorpio basically the whole time. It was still those two. And I know it was just basically those two because right in front of me, they had a conversation. Like, yeah, we'll still be friends after this. Like, we can still hang out to each other. I was right there, and it was like, oh yeah, we can all hang out. No, just the two of them. Yeah, we can still hang out. And I was just like, okay, fuck you guys. Moving on. So even with Skater and Scorpio, it was still like, oh, okay, cool. I'm here by myself once again, but that's fine. So anyway, Gemini, Chad, and Italiano continued to be cliquey as fuck and continued to go on their little rendezvous together and not invite the rest of us ever. And you know, it's one thing to like hang out with each other. It's another thing to never invite the other people, you know? It's like, yeah, I think it's important to like not do stuff together all the time, you know? It's fine to have your little groups and whatever, but when it's like obvious that you're not even considering us, and I say this because, for example, to Italiano, I would be like, hey, if you're doing something, let me know. Because obviously they weren't letting any of us know. And he's the same person like, oh yeah, it's an open invitation. Because I told him that Skater and Scorpio were upset about the dinner thing. I was also upset, but I didn't say that part. But I said they were upset about the dinner thing. And he was like, well, it's always an open invitation. That's not how open invitations work. An open invitation is telling somebody that, hey, this is happening. So if you want to come, come. That's an open invitation. You actually have to invite people for it to be considered an open invitation. Because who's just going to bombard on somebody's plans? If I see you eating dinner, am I supposed to just invite myself and sit down in the middle of your meal? That's an open invitation. That's how that works. Makes no fucking sense. But anyway, I would ask Italiano, if you're doing something, let me know. Fast forward, they ended up doing stuff, didn't let me know. This one time, sorry if this is like confusing or all over the place, I'm gonna go live on TikTok and like answer questions after I upload this if anything's like still confusing. So yeah, but like I'm just like giving like little tidbits of the shit that they did that I remember that annoyed me. But okay, so this one time pissed me the fuck off, and this was by the end of the trip. I'm gonna go back to stuff before it, so this is like the end, but like I'm like all over the place, but I'm just blurting out stuff as I remember it. But at the end of the trip, is there lipstick on my teeth? At the end of the trip, near like 2 days before we were supposed to leave, I was going to go to Laura's apartment to help her out because she had like to stuff her suitcase, and she's older, so she's like in her 60s, so like she needed some help. So I didn't have data in Italy, so you know, I relied completely on public Wi-Fi. So it was hard for me to send texts and shit like that, and my texts weren't sending to her. I was at her apartment, which also happened to be Chad's and Italiano's apartment. They were not in the same apartment, apartment, but they were in the same building. So I buzzed her first. She didn't answer. I texted her. She didn't answer. So I buzzed the guys, and they didn't answer. So I was like, okay, cool. So I texted Italiano. He didn't answer. I was like, okay, whatever. It delivered though. So I was like, answer. I was waiting for him to answer because he's somewhere where he has Wi-Fi because it delivered. So it delivered, and I waited like 3 minutes. You know what happened after those 3 minutes of me waiting outside the door? Because I could get Wi-Fi because I was connected to the guy's Wi-Fi. So I could get Wi-Fi from outside their door. You know what happened? I hear Italiano from the top floor talking to Chad. I buzzed them. And they didn't answer. And you know how I know they didn't answer on purpose? I know this because the night before, me, Skater, and Scorpio had gone to their apartment. After the whole trip of not being invited to do anything with them, we were just like, okay, let's invite ourselves because it is an open invitation, right? So we went over, buzzed, they answer, let us in. I was pretty sure they didn't want us to be there, but we were there. Anyway, that's how I know they didn't answer it on purpose. Then he has the audacity to text back like, oh, sorry, I just got in from the hairdresser. So basically, I don't not believe that he was at the hairdresser because he was. He went there, he was. The problem with that was I was standing at the door the whole time. When he texted me back, I was walking up the hill, and then I walked back down the hill. I didn't see him, and I heard him before I left, because when I left, I was like, okay, fuck you guys, and I left. And then he had texted me saying that he got back from the hairdresser. It's a problem because it's not that he lied about being at the hairdresser, it's that he lied about just getting back because I was there the whole fucking time. So that was the problem, okay? That pissed me off. So, if that makes sense, I hope that makes sense. So, another situation that happened on top of the many other situations that happened, the reason Gemini pisses me off because Gemini is just all over the fucking place. Gemini is not trustworthy. Gemini just does not stick through with her plans, and Gemini just does not give a fuck. And I do not quite care for people that don't give a fuck. And there's a difference between not giving a fuck and being carefree. And when I say not giving a fuck, I mean genuinely not caring about other people's feelings or being inconsiderate of other people. So, I don't know if she genuinely did not care about other people's feelings, but I know that she was inconsiderate of other people. And that's why I didn't fuck with Gemini, okay? That is why I did not like Gemini. So, what did Gemini do? Okay, Gemini just generally was flaky as fuck. If it was us, she would be flaky. If it was one of the guys, I can guarantee you she wouldn't have been as flaky. Why do I say that she's flaky? Well, for example, Skater wanted to get a tattoo with Gemini. Gemini said, yeah, let's get a tattoo together. And they were planning it. However, Gemini told Skater nothing of the plans for the tattoo. So Skater therefore knew nothing about the tattoo plans. Gemini didn't tell her when she was getting it. Gemini didn't tell her where she was getting it. So Skater knew nothing about the tattoo plans. And Gemini talked all this shit that they were going to get in Amalfi. Never fucking happened. Gemini then proceeds to go to Florence and get her tattoo without Skater. Skater did not know that Gemini was going to get her tattoo in Florence. Gemini never told Skater that she was going to get her tattoo. So therefore, Skater was upset that Gemini didn't tell her, and Gemini still didn't say shit about the tattoo after. So she completely just was inconsiderate of Skater and her feelings, and that she wanted to get the fucking tattoo. That annoyed me. It wasn't my tattoo, but it annoyed me because Gemini does shit like this all the fucking time. And I also asked her, like, well, they asked her because I didn't like her, but this one time I did ask her if she's doing anything, let me know. Didn't care for her, but at the same time, I still, like, was not completely, like, pissed off at the guys yet. Because for one thing, I liked one of them. I liked Chad, of course. And for another thing, the other one, Italiano, wasn't that annoying to me yet. So I asked her because I knew if she was doing something, it would have been with them. So I was like, if you do something, let me know. Fast forward, she's out at the fucking calf with one of them. But what the fuck ever. Fuck a leaky, right? But anyway, it was just a bunch of, like, what time is this on? It was just like a bunch of patterns of them doing stuff, not telling us about it, us being by ourselves, or like me just being by myself throughout the whole group. So I was lonely, and, like, yes, and, yeah, and then, the last thing, so, generally, the whole thing, the biggest problem was that people were cliquey, and I don't think that's right in a group of fucking 7 people, you know? I don't think that's right, and especially, it's one thing to hang out with people, like, by yourselves. That's one thing. That's fine. Like, okay, who gives a fuck? But it's another thing to, like, never consider the other people in the group ever, even when they ask you, what are you doing, you know? Because sometimes stuff just happens. Like, stuff happens. Like, we end up having dinner because we saw it and we were like, let's go. Don't think about it. That's fine. But it's like, it's also annoying, especially if you're always, like, inviting the other people to do stuff and they're always saying no, and then they go and do something, you know, that you basically wanted to do, which is what they were doing. So, the panic attack. I'm not going to get into the panic attack because I really just don't want to for this video. It wasn't really a panic attack. It was more of me crying because I was mad. I wasn't sad, I was mad. So that night, there's another example there too. So people just weren't listening to me when I was talking. Like, everybody was at the girls' apartment, so our apartment. Nobody was listening to me when I was talking, so I started getting pissed off. So I went to my room a couple times, and I just sat in there. Then I ended up coming back out. The guys wanted to go get gelato, so they asked everybody if they wanted to get gelato. Nobody wanted to go, so they were like, okay. But I was like, okay, to make myself feel better, I should probably go out. So I was like, okay, I'll come with you. Then they proceeded to be like, okay, Gemini, now you have to come. This pissed me off and set me off the edge because this whole time people have been cliquey, people have been, like, basically ignoring me, and it's just, like, not considerate. And I know for a fact that if it was the other way around and Gemini was like, oh yeah, I'll come get gelato, and they would have never been like, oh yeah, come on, Leaky. Never would have happened. So that pissed me off. How do I know it would have happened? Because they were the 3 fucking amigos. Like, I knew it wouldn't have happened. They would have gotten their gelato and been on their merry way. I know it would have happened. And that's what pissed me off. And then it just set me off. And I was, like, just mad about the whole fucking trip. And this was, like, 2 weeks in, baby. Whew. 2 weeks in. That is rich. So, the last situation I want to talk about is one near and dear to my motherfucking heart. And that is the last night. The last night we were in Italy, people. They went to dinner together. Let me rewind a little bit, though. About 2 nights prior, when we went to the guy's apartment, if you remember me talking about it, and how we just dropped in because it's an open invitation. We just dropped in. And Italiano was like, yeah, we'll all get together and we'll make dinner. fast forward to that day. I was like, so are we still gonna do dinner? And he was like, I don't know, but we'll think of something to do. I was like, okay, bet. Knew damn well nothing was gonna happen. I knew damn well nothing was gonna happen because he's just so flip-floppy in the shit he wants to do. It's just like ridiculous. So anyway, Gemini, Chad, and Italiano were at fucking dinner together. It is our last night in Italy, and you don't think to invite the rest of the people in the group to dinner? Does that make fucking sense? They were at dinner together. So when me, Skater, and Scorpio were walking by, I was just like, don't look at them, just keep walking. So they kept walking, and we went on our merry way. We were coming back up the hill, because Montepulciano is very hilly. We were coming back up the hill, and we saw them at Gelato. Once again, no invite. Okay, last night, whatever, fuck you guys. But anyway, continuing. They were all at Gelato. I was like, yeah, don't look at them. So we just walked by. And I'm pretty sure I heard somebody say, like, are they not going to look at us? Or something along the lines of that. And I was just pissed off. And at that moment forward, I was just like, fuck you guys. I'm over it. I'm ready to go home. And my demeanor for the last 2 days changed drastically. Because not only did I, at this point, not have anybody outside of the group to talk to, because I definitely branched out and, like, made friends outside of the group. And I had people to talk to. Like, I went to Florence with this girl named Brenda. Hey, Brenda, if you're even watching. But I went to Florence with her for the weekend, so that was fun. And I met kids from the orchestra, so I had, like, I went out with them, like, one night, and that was pretty fun. But, yeah. So it's, like, I still, like, did stuff. Like, I still had fun. That's why I say only 70%. The other percent was pretty good. Because once I was away from the group, I was A-okay, baby. But anyway, the last night, and we weren't even, like, thought of. Like, it just blows my mind. Ridiculous. Ridiculous. This is underwear. It's been there the whole video, so I hope you enjoyed that. But yeah, that is pretty much why Italy was terrible. These people were just mad inconsiderate, didn't care about anybody's feelings, but like their little what the fuck ever you want to call it. And granted, it really shouldn't matter, like, if they had their little group, because if we had our own little group, but the thing is, I still felt detached from Skater and Scorpio. It was still, like, the two of them. Like, being with them separately and not together was weird, you know? Like, I can make it work. I can fake it till I make it, baby. Like, I know how to have a conversation. But being with them by myself, like, solo, would not work. And then together, it would just be, like, them plus Saliki. So it's like basically the whole trip I felt alone. So it's like not being invited to do stuff. It does something to you after a while. After a whole fucking month. And then at the airport, I had a whole attitude because I wanted to leave. I didn't want to be around them. I didn't want to be close to them. I just wanted to leave. Like, they were too close to me for comfort. They were around me the whole day and I didn't like it. I just wanted to get away from them. So I, like, had an attitude the whole day, and I don't like that, and I don't like how other people affect me, and I don't like how I let other people affect me. Because if I'm uncomfortable, you're going to see it on my face. If I don't like something, you're going to see it on my face. Like, I can't hide how I feel. It's in my body language, and it's in my whole, like, fucking face. So I can't hide how I feel. And it's, like, one thing to be a certain way. It's one thing to be a certain way towards the people in the group that, like, don't deserve, like, any type of kindness from me at this point. But then that, like, trickles outwards to other people. Like, people, like, at the airport would talk to me, and I wouldn't be rude, but it's, like, I wouldn't come off how I wanted to. Like, I would just, like, smile. I wouldn't, like, be like, yeah, or, like, blah, 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 thank you. I would just, like, And I don't like that. And it's just, I learned a lot about me because of this trip. But that can be like, oh, I've talked so much I don't feel like talking anymore. But I learned a lot, and I learned like what I really need to work on. And even though this trip was terrible because of those reasons, because the study abroad group is the group, like, it wasn't life-changing. Being in a country is only life-changing if the factors around you are life-changing. And this was life-changing, I guess, in a positive way, because I did realize stuff about myself. But, like, it was negative. Like, it wasn't something I would write home about. I'm not about to fake it. Like, everybody knows that I didn't enjoy myself. Like, it's not a secret. I'm not one of those people that are like, yeah, I love this so much. Like, no, if you want to know the truth, I hated my experience. And if I knew that my experience would have been like that, I would have never gone. Because being in Italy would have been amazing if I was with the right people. But I was not with the right people. So my experience in Italy was trash. Am I gonna, like, be like, I'm never coming back? No. I still like the country. It was just the group. And the thing is, the main factor that ruined this, actually, was not even the group. It was where we were. We were in Montepulciano. Montepulciano is a tourist town. It is small. It is, like, it's one big hill, and it's just full of shops. Granted, I met people, but I met people later on in the trip. If we were staying in a place like Rome, I could have met people, and it could have been a constant. I could have been doing stuff by myself all the time. In Montepulciano, there's not much to do. Like, being in Montepulciano for a week would be cool. Being there for a whole month, no, there's nothing to do. And when I say there's nothing to do, there's not shit to do there. So, if anything, not only did the group ruin my experience, where I was ruined my experience. Like, at least being there for the whole month. Like, if I had a good group and I was in Monte, it would have been completely fine. But I had a bad group and I was in Monte? No. So, if I had a bad group and I was in Rome, okay, whatever. Nobody can say shit to me. If I had a good group and I was in Rome, fucking amazing. It's just different factors. So what I'm trying to say is, my study abroad experience was trash. My Italy experience was amazing. The country itself was great. Not the study abroad experience. The country I'm 100% happy with. I'm 100% happy with my Italy experience. I'm not 100% happy with my study abroad experience at all. Like the friends, the groups, the students I met, not happy with it at all. But my Italian experience was beautiful. And it's unfortunate that my first time in Italy had to go this way. But I'm still glad I did it. If I had known it would be like this, I wouldn't have not wasted my money. Because it feels like a huge waste of money. But I'm happy I did it. Because at the end of the day, if I didn't go, because I was like, what if my group isn't good? I would have regretted not going. So I don't regret going because Italy was great. But the study abroad experience was not. So, that is all I had to say today. I hope you liked the video. I hope the tea was piping. I hope you got all the information you needed to know. And yeah, that's how it went. But overall, I'm happy with my Italian experience. Not happy with my study abroad experience. And I'm just happy to be home and going back to school soon. And yeah, that's all I gotta say. And I'll see you in the next one. Bye!